Hello, everybody. Last workshop of the day, hopefully a good one. Cool. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Léa Samrani, and we are here to talk about how to maximize your subscription app monetization. So, I'm guessing all of you have a subscription app, otherwise, it may not be the right room for you. So this is me. I've been working in product for a bit over a decade now. I'm currently a fractional CPO with a startup, and I also am a product advisor with unlikeany. The guys are at the back of the room. If you haven't heard of us yet, it's because it's a brand new social discovery app. It's based here in Berlin. I would love for you to try it and actually give us your feedback. It would be really cool. And I'm also a product and growth consultant. And the last couple of years, I've actually mostly been working on monetization and done a lot of monetization optimization. So today, I'm just going to go through some of my learning, some of the stuff I tried, and obviously, if you want to discuss further specific example case that you're working on or you tried, we can talk after the workshop. That's my LinkedIn, that QR code thing. It's like my favorite thing in the world. So please take a photo, scan it. It's just like, yay, technology. Hi, Hannah. Please take a seat. Okay, why are we talking monetization? Well, obviously, making money is really nice. Everybody do want that. But beyond making money, when you actually optimize for monetization, you allow yourself to grow a sustainable product. And that's important, right? Secondly, the more we optimize for monetization, the more we actually have to spend time understanding the customer, the actual user. What do they want? What do they need? What's the value? And those two things really work hand in hand. And then finally, everything is about growth, growth, growth. Well, to grow, you need to have a very healthy cash flow for acquisition. You cannot have a cash flow if you're a leaky bucket. So monetization kind of come first. This, for me, is a very new way of thinking. I used to be a very big advocate that unless you have really good numbers, really good retention, you shouldn't monetize your product. I've changed my mind. This is an example. So that's a product I worked on 7-8 months ago. Before summer. That's an app that was doing around 25K a month MRR. It's a pretty good app, pretty good retention, pretty good engagement metric, but didn't really do a lot around monetization optimization. So we worked together for a few months. We ran a lot of tests. I put 27 on there, but I'm pretty sure we ran way over 30 tests. And over that period of 5 months, we increased our RRR by 59%. So by the time I moved on, it was around 50K a month. The way we did that was simple tweaks. We didn't do any big changes. We didn't change our acquisition strategy. We didn't spend more money. We just do tweaks on paywall, on placement, on a bunch of other things, which I guess everybody could use. That's another app that I've been working on. This is a brand new app. We started monetizing 3 weeks ago. So this is where we're at. This is not a very high number. Like, it looks really pretty, but I think it's around 3 or 4K. But that's 3 weeks worth of monetization optimization. So it really works for any size product as well. Okay, the stuff we're going to go over today are the basics. Product market fit, pre-paywall experience, language market fit, paywall placement, framing your prices, building trust, aha moments, and preventing churn, and finally, kind of forget everything I said. No, everything doesn't fit everybody. You need to find out what works for you. Spoiler alert. Let's start with a little bit of an exercise. So I'd like you to look at the person next to you, find out what company they work for. If it's an app, please download the app. You've got 5 minutes. If the person next to you do not work on an app, feel free to pick any other product. Not a game, not your own product. And then I would like you to go through the onboarding flow until the first paywall that you see, wherever that is in the product. I'd like you to look at it and maybe make some notes, like mental notes, or if you have something to write on what would you change if that was your product and how would you improve it. And then we're just going to leave it aside for now. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do that. Please go ahead. Yeah?
I cannot find the.
You can't find the app? Oh. Well,
I will do it.
here's your best recommendation. Keyword on the App Store. Okay, good. How are we doing? You've got 1 more minute. Okay, time's up. How did you get on? Is everybody done? Does anybody need more time? Do you want to raise your hand so I get a feel? 1 more minute? Okay, 1 more minute. You've got 30 seconds left. This is called a bit of urgency. It's one of the principles we might go over in a few minutes. 10 seconds. Okay, right. You can put your notes aside and leave them for now, but try to remember them. We'll come over that at the end of the workshop as well. And what a nice ice-breaking exercise. You talk to your neighbors. Cool. Right, so this is what we're going to cover today, and hopefully we have a bit more of a concrete idea on how to improve things. The first thing is product market fit. This is not a new concept. This is a, hey guys, over there on the left, that's it, that's enough. Back in the room. I know, it's great. Right, product market fit is a very, very common concept by now. And essentially, this is what you're competing with. There's over 255 billion app on the store right now. So, you know, it's cute to monetize, but really, if your app is not a little bit good, that's not really go your way. You need to have a minimum of you need to have a minimum of a decent product. You know, no bugs, stable, have something that actually works. I think it's not too much asking in 2023. The second thing is we want to have an added value experience. I know some of you are in very, very competing market. There's always a lot of app and other product in that market. If you're not adding anything new, if you don't have any new technology, any new value, or even just like a new branding, frankly, we're going to struggle a little bit. Audience product fit. So again, if you have an amazing product but nobody wants it, oops. So, I mean, that one is an easy one, talk to people. And finally, we do want some decent activation and engagement metric. And if we don't have decent activation and engagement metric, we start there. We don't need to have them perfect. We don't need to have great retention or great engagement metric, but we do need a little bit of a minimum amount of traffic, a minimum amount of user that finish your activation funnel and that actually use your product. Otherwise, this is where we start and everything else needs to be paused. I'm not going to go into great detail on product market fit because there's a whole session that we can do just on that. But I just want you to know that this is important. And once you do have a bit of a fit, not perfect, just enough, you need to think about your monetization model and what to choose. I found that on the internet. I think it's true. But almost 50% of the app actually use a subscription model. And there's a good reason for it. Like that's essentially where there's a lot of money to be made. It's just a great revenue model. But you can also have ads. I've worked with ads quite a bit. It's very interesting. And ads and subscription can work together really well as well. And then you also have paid app downloads. And paid app downloads is maybe more for product that you don't use that often, that maybe are a bit cheaper, and you might use them a couple times a year. And so if they want subscription, you might question if it gives you enough value to keep paying for this product. So this is where you start. You need to understand your monetization game. Assuming you're a subscription app, which is what we're going to talk about today, those are the things we can look at to make it work better. The first thing is what happened before your paywall. So if you start optimizing for monetization at the paywall, it's already too late. You really need to start optimizing for monetization from way before they even see that page where you ask for their money. I love to think about that as a bit more of a traditional sales experience. Like if you're buying something and you're talking with a salesperson, they don't really start by saying, hey, can you pay for my product? They kind of start to ask, what is it you need for? What are your problems? They qualify it. Once they qualify it, they repeat all of that to you to make sure that you know that they understand you, that they know you need, they know your problems, and they have a way to fix it. This is what your onboarding funnel is supposed to do. It's a sales funnel. You're selling the dream. You're selling your product. You're telling your user that I understand you, I know you, and here's a perfect product to solve your problem. We do all of that before the paywall. Here's some example of apps that do it really well. So Headspace, yeah, there's so many head now. Headspace does it really well. Headspace qualify exactly what your problem are. This is pure job to be done methodology. If you're not familiar, that's also an entirely other session. But essentially, it's understanding why people buy what they're buying, and then using their own words to make sure that they know, you know. On Headspace, you can see that there's kind of 3 categories, I think, right? Anxiety and stress, being more active, and then they drill down every time for you. So if you say, I want to manage my anxiety, then they drill down into what exactly you need to manage as an anxiety. So by the time you get to the paywall, you're like, wow, this app really gets me. So the question of, is this the right product for me, is already answered. This is an interesting one, Companion. Companion is more about personalization. So this is a fasting app. I don't know if you guys have used fasting app, but they're kind of all the same, really. They tell you eat twice a day and have like 6, 12, 8 hours of non-eating. But on Companion, they really drill down before you paywall on why is it that you want to fast in the first place. And they don't talk about their feature. They don't talk about, what are they going to do to make you fast. They talk about why you want to be fasting in the first place. So healthier lifestyle, lost weight, increased energy, a lot of other options. But anyway, there's a lot of screen before you get to the paywall. And so by the time you get to the paywall, you expect something that's going to be very personalized to you. We're building expectation there. This is a new app I've actually found quite recently. A couple weeks ago, I met the founders, and Also, really, really good app. Same thing. They have the whole onboarding, which is like personalized. They ask you a lot of questions. Apparently, I am Artemis. Not too sure, but why not? And by the time you get to the paywall, they have this whole personalized journey that's built for you, and you've already like done a little test. They tell you who you are. They tell you what's good for you. So before you even get to the paywall, you're kind of thinking this is going to be really personalized. There's going to be a lot of great value for me. And as a user, I'm like all for it. The next step is language market fit. So this is kind of a new concept for me personally. I think some of you might be very familiar with it, but I kind of came across language market fit recently when I was working with Matt Lehner, who's kind of love talking about that. And essentially, it's about how the language you're using on your product and how customer can relate to that language. Here's an example. So we've got 4 different music apps here, all using a different language. Every single one is using a different language. They're also going about monetization in a very different way. You can all recognize Apple, I guess. This is a very Apple way of going about things. Big imagery, very little text, very little description of what is it you're going to get. It's really about like the wow factor. This is Deezer. She found out this morning, I think we have someone in the room, that that's a very, very efficient paywall. But it doesn't say much, right? It literally just talks about like what you're paying for, the plan that they have. It doesn't really say anything about what you're getting, about what the product is, or who is it for. And if you look at it and you don't know who that page belongs to, I don't think you would know. Like, there's literally nothing here that's customized or personalized in any way, or even branded. But somehow this works really well. So language market fit. YouTube is really all about the feature. YouTube. This is kind of the opposite way. You cannot not know this is not YouTube. And YouTube has a huge brand. So using their name over and over again is somehow a really strong way to reassure you and to make you think there's a lot of value. And they talk a lot about that feature. I've checked like 3 or 4 different paywalls for YouTube, and every single time it's all feature. It's not usually something we advise people to do, but it works really well for them. Maybe because that's why people pay for YouTube, just for the feature. The last one is Spotify. Spotify is a bit of an interesting one because you can't subscribe on the app. You have to go on web. So how can you communicate to people that it's worth for you to get out of the app, go on the website, go and pay there, come back to the app, reuse those credentials? Like, that's a huge barrier to entrance. How are they communicating that in a way that's motivating people to do? And they must do it quite well because they have really good revenue figures. My guess it's all about free. Their product language is all about free. Try it for free, 3 months for free, free. That's what you see everywhere on their page. And the corner thingy is the website, is the same word that is reused over and over again. They talk about a bit about feature, kind of like YouTube, but not as much. They talk about their plan a little bit, kind of like Deezer, but not as much. They're kind of a bit visual like Apple, but not as much. So again, very different way to go about the exact same product. My guess is those companies have tested over and over their paywall, and this is what works best for them, even though it's very different. This is a completely opposite example. This is one product. This is Jigsaw. It's a dating app. 3 different paywalls, all tested. The paywall, they're kind of the same. I mean, what you get is pretty much the same. It's the same package. But the way they're communicating about it is very different. On one of them, we have free doesn't work. On the other, meet your match in real life. And the last one is get the VIP treatment. Very different copy, right? This all comes from user interviews. Is actually talking to people, finding out what motivated them in the first place, why they were using the product, and then trying to work our copy market fit to make sure that people resonate with the product. And so then we put it there, and we tested over and over again, and actually got some really, like this one is actually the one that works the best. And right now, there's a new version, which is like a video paywall. We're using the same language. So again, one product, many different copy. Very, very different results as well. So what is it that works for your product? Do you know your language market fit? Can you tell me, actually, this is exactly why people want to use our product. This is a word they're using, and this actually has been put on our paywall, and is working better or worse than something else. Those guys can, and that's probably why they're making more money now than they were making before. Paywall placement. Placement is an interesting one because there's a lot of philosophy there. You've got the people that say you shouldn't ask for money too soon, and you've got the people that say, actually, top of the funnel is where you get all your users, put it out there. I'm from the put it out there kind of group of people. This is an example of a test I run. This is an activation paywall placement. So this is a product where you have a long activation funnel, like we talked about before. There's a lot of questions, there's personalization. It's very well done. And then we have the actual content, the reason why people come to that product. And what happened before is that we were giving them the content first, and once they finish the content, we put our first paywall. That content lasts about, I want to say 6-7 minutes to go through. So we do have a lot of people that drop off during those 6-7 minutes. And the activation funnel is quite long, and there's a test placement, so there's a lot of things you do before. Simple test. Took that paywall from after the first pieces of content, the aha moment, and put it just before that first pieces of content and the aha moment. Kind of controversial, but look at the difference in result. We were around 2% conversion rate. We were now on 5% conversion rate. The good news there, and that's what I love about this, is actually once people pay, they're also more retained, they're more engaged. They just spend money on a product. They are willing to put a bit more effort to test it, to spend more time on it. And on a product like this one, which is a really good product, when they do spend a bit more time on it, to play with it and to test it, they kind of stick around. So not only we have a higher conversion rate, but we also have higher engagement metric, higher retention, and higher renewal rate of subscription. Literally just with placement. Good test. Okay, so that's some stuff I've tested on onboarding and that still work. Again, I would really much encourage you to test what works for your product. Very different products have different things. So, for example, I've seen focusing on benefit works better than feature because at that stage, people don't really know your product yet. Now, we just saw like two screens ago that it doesn't work with all categories. Some categories are very standardized. People know exactly what to expect. Maybe in those ones, you don't need to focus on the benefit. But in general, that's what works better. Price is a huge deal at that stage. You haven't yet built trust. You haven't really given them any value. You just sold to them. So the price point you choose need to be just at that right level that you get the maximum that you can get, but not too expensive that it's going to make people drop off. Something to be tested. FOMO? Oh, love FOMO. Okay, look at that one. Isn't that beautiful, FOMO? So this is literally 20 seconds to decide if you want to redeem a 50% off offer or not. Love it. So this is actually right after activation. You go through the whole onboarding. You have the normal, start your trial paywall. You say no to that paywall. Paf, they put that thing. 30 seconds. Decide, pay or not. Love it. Trial. Okay, trial is an interesting one. So trial, if your product is fairly sticky, trial tend to work really well at onboarding. It means that more people are willing to try your product, and that means that usually you have more people converting. If your product is not sticky, if your product there's a barrier to entrance, it requires a bit of effort, it's something they're not going to use that often, do not put a trial at onboarding. The results are not as good. Recently, I've also seen that if your product is for a younger audience that may not have credit card details, that may need to go and ask their parents, trial might not also be the way to go because actually the barrier to entrance is the same. They need to go and ask their parents to pay something. So you might as well just get them to pay rather than take on a trial. Social proof is pretty good at that stage. We'll go over social proof later, but it's a good thing to put right there. People, again, don't know you, don't know your product. Build that trust. And okay, lastly, the shorter paywall. So if you're a bit familiar with the paywall industry, right now all the trend is around the long paywall, like put long paywall, lots of information, make sure people read. It works really well, but in my experience at onboarding, the less the better. This is some example of a company that do that. So on the left is Uptime. This is an app I worked on. On Uptime, the onboarding paywall is one of the paywall that perform the best and essentially has like a big FOMO offer, very little copy, very benefit driven, and it convert really well. On the right, you have Calm. I'm guessing everybody's familiar with Calm. Calm has this, feature/benefit-driven paywall, but with not a lot of information on it, with a trial. And if you go on and say no to that paywall, poof, FOMO offer, 40% off. Love it. Never take on the first offer. This is both paywall are onboarding, so this actually is one way that works quite well. Moving on to prices. Okay, so we've got a product market fit. We've built our pre-paywall experience. We have a good activation funnel. We have strong messages, personalization, questionnaire. People think this is the right product for them. We use their language. We talk to them. We interview them. We know the word they use, and we put it through the entire funnel. We put paywall everywhere that we should put paywall, especially on activation. Now, how do we frame our prices? Well, it's all about perspective with prices. Here's a little story. In another life, like 15 years or so ago, I used to raise money for charity. I actually raised a lot of money for the British Red Cross. And the way you do that is you go to company, to the street, to literally to people anywhere, and you're like, hey, can I get your credit card details to sign you up for a direct debit where you're going to give free money to a charity you've never heard of, to me, a stranger you met 2 seconds ago? Well, a lot of people say no. But what you learn with that is that it's really all about framing. So one of the things that worked really, really well was to tell people, this is actually cheaper than a cup of coffee. You literally, that was in London. In London, people love coffee. I don't know about Berlin, but we're really about coffee, and we pay a lot for it. So telling people, it's less than a cup of coffee a day, but you're actually going to send a kid to school, it's something that works really well. It gives them perspective. It's like 20 cents a day. It's not much money, right? Really, it's 20, I don't know, but it's a lot more. Another way to frame things is invest in. Okay, I love that one. That one is an example that was given to me a couple of years ago, and it was someone describing a product that they bought that was quite an expensive product. Oh, gosh, I'm talking too much. We're running out of time. That was a very expensive product, and the way they describe it to me is instead of saying, well, I just spent like 500 quid in that very expensive product, they said to me, instead of buying this product, I could go to a coach and take lesson with that coach, and I would have to do that over a very long period of time to get the same results. So actually buying this very expensive product right now saved me a lot of money. I invested in my health, I invested in my future, in my kids, whatever. So again, it's all about how you frame things. I love this. This is super old. This is not born with app. It's from, I don't know, I think the Harvard Business Review like a million years ago. It's still actually true. Frame your prices. Which one would you buy right here? Like, how long do you spend thinking about which one you buy? You don't even think about it, right? The bigger one is 50 cents more than the medium one. You're not going to eat that much popcorn, but they just got 50 cents more out of you. This is from Miro. Very nice way of framing their price. They're showing you the monthly prices. You're not going to pay monthly, you're going to pay yearly. You're going to pay a lot more money than this $8 a month. You have a team of 20, of 50, of 100, and you're going to pay yearly. That bill is going to be huge. But $8 a month doesn't seem that much, right? And it's nicely framed, 0, 8, 16, like. This is another way to frame your price. So this is Bumble on the left. On the right is a purchase list template that you can use to do the exact same thing. Bumble frame their price with duration. 1 week, 1 month, 3 months. 1 month is in the middle, has the best price points, the most popular, etc., etc. Again, when I'm looking at it, one is half price, kind of a quick decision. That's what we want to do when we frame our prices. We want to make sure that people go to the most obvious choices because they think they're getting a better value out of it. Here, those guys, so this is Headway, Fastic, and Epic Pro. They're all framing their prices, showing you the weekly price. Look at this one. Honestly, this is 0.38 cents a week. How long are you going to think about before buying a product that's 38 cents? Not that long, is it? The real price, though, is $20. Okay, not that much either, but still, the way they frame their prices is showing you the weekly value. Much better. This is $150, $230, $299. And this one, I can't see. I don't know if you can see, but it's $115, $250, and $324. So again, weekly value, $1 a week. Probably can afford that. That's another interesting way of framing your prices. So the product on the left is showing you monthly versus yearly. And yearly, if you do very quick math, you can see that it's twice the price of monthly. So now I'm thinking, if I'm about to use that product more than 1 month, just more than 1 month, I might as well go to yearly. It's probably better for me, right? So you, as a product owner, you can look at your data and you can look at your retention. If people are buying a month and then unsubscribing, put a yearly that's very cheap. You're just getting a little bit more value out of your user because actually, this is a much better deal for me as a user. If your retention is really high, so I think that's more like the Netflix of this world, do not give a yearly product. That doesn't make any sense. And the right-hand side is Duolingo. So Duolingo frame it with individual and family. And that's a really interesting way of doing it because if you look at it, family is twice the price as individual. So automatically you think individual is cheaper. But in reality, if you take family plan with them, I think you get 5 users. Your retention is going to be through the roof because that means if only one person in your family out of the 5 keep using the product, you cannot unsubscribe. So they're doing like a double action, essentially. One showing you that the price you should buy is much cheaper, framing it very nicely. The second one showing you that actually if you want to go more expensive, you'll retain forever. Win-win for Duolingo. Okay, if we move on to build trust, how do you build trust? Social proof, social proof, social proof, social proof. If you don't have any, ask your user to give you a review, to give you feedback. Again, exactly the same paywall, left, right. We added one button saying, see what our members say. People tap on it, a bunch of social proof. This increased conversion rate by 35%. This simple button over there. You can see that on a lot of paywall, see, like, you can just put, like, the stores, you can put, like, I love this one, 1 million download. This is a lot of trust. 1 million people use that product, automatic trust. And also, like, review work quite well. That's another way to build trust, is being very transparent with your user, so they know exactly what to expect. We all know the Blinkist timeline paywall. I've tested this paywall a lot, didn't always see great results, but being transparent in general help. So like, for example, Duo does, it just tells you, 2 days before we'll let you know. Headway does the same as well. Like, being transparent help. People don't want to feel like they're going to get tricked into paying something that they can't get out of. Phew, almost there. Aha moments and intent matters. So you know how we spoke about having a minimum of product market fit, understanding your user, understanding their engagement? This is because the more you understand your users, the better you can place your paywall at the moment that matters to them. Here's an example I tested recently. This is a language app. They have very good understanding that their user need to do a certain amount of lesson and a certain amount of engagement feature that they have before being retained. And if people do that, they become activated and they stick around. So what we did was very simple, is right after that moment happened, we put on a paywall with an offer that you only get once, a bit of a FOMO offer. This actually increased our conversion by around 150%, which is huge because this is a big product. Another one we did that worked quite well was with a streak. I'm sure you're all familiar with streak. Streak is a very normal tactic that apps are using. We ask people, can you make it to 7 days? And if they go and say yes, right away we show them a paywall that say, smash your streak with this 7-day free trial. We also tested something like hold yourself accountable with this 7-day free trial. 7 days, 7 day, great conversion rate. I can't remember the result, but it was good. Here's another test. So completely different product, very similar tactic. We understand what was the aha moment on the product and how, what was the one thing, well, actually, this is a couple of things people needed to do to actually get engaged and retain. And right after that, poof, paywall. Now, on that product, this aha moment happened every day, more or less. If you have a good session, it happened every day, which is why you can see that the paywall per session and per user have been shown 200% time more often than before. And you can also see that user converted 174% more than before. This is pretty awesome. And this is just because we understood exactly at what point people thought your product has the highest value to me. I'm likely to pay right now and put a paywall right after. We've done a lot of work right now. You know, we understand our people, we understand our users, we ask them at the right time, with the right copy, with the right prices, we build trust. Phew. How do we prevent them from churning? So this is some stuff we tried. Churn doesn't happen after a year. If you wait for a whole year or a whole month or whatever your subscription period is to wait and prevent churn, it's too late. Churn happened very, very early on. This is one of the examples we tried. Right after the activation, whatever paywall we had at the time, if you said no to it, we gave you a present and gave you the app for free, full experience for a few days for you to try it. Early on reactivation. And coupled with that, once that period of 3 days ends, we give you, we actually ask you to downgrade and lose your premium benefit. And if not, you get a paywall. So that way, people that actually were never going to subscribe in the first place get 3 days to try the product. And if they do like the product, we actively ask them to downgrade and have a less of a good experience for free, or subscribe and keep the same experience that you've been experiencing for 3 days. And if that's a good experience, which was the case, you do subscribe. Here's a few more examples. So this is channel 4. If you go on and actually go to unsubscribe with channel 4, they give you 4 months for free. Go and unsubscribe with channel 4. That's a pretty good deal. And this is another one where actually we told people, here's everything you're going to lose. They still wanted to unsubscribe. We asked them why. And whatever they say, we actually optimize for it. So if they said, you know, I'm worried I'm going to forget about it, we say, well, we will remind you in 7 days before your renewal, whatever, that your subscription will happen. If they say it's too expensive, we gave them an offer. So really targeting exactly to their need or paywalls, really. And finally, as I said at the beginning, design isn't a one-fit-all situation. So a lot of paywalls that have been considered industry standard or best performing don't actually perform well on other apps. And the only way to find out is to kind of try for yourself. This is 2 examples. On the left, you have what I was saying earlier, the long paywall. Wait, how does that work? Okay, let's start with this one. This is Duolingo again. On Duolingo, when you tap, you have step 1, step 2. It's going to come. There's a step 3 and a 4, and I think a 5 as well. See, so 5-step paywall, not an industry traditional one, but again, pretty sure Duolingo has tested that many, many, many times, and that performed really well for them. On the left, can we get that to play, you think? No? Doesn't want. Okay, well, the left one is a long paywall. So you scroll and you have, you know, like the timeline, the feature, the social proof, the benefit, etc., which is more of a like traditional performing paywall right now. But there's many, many kind of paywall you can try, like the video, no text, social proof, multi-step, etc. And what I wanted to show you is that it doesn't fit all, and even on the same product, it doesn't fit every placement. So this is a test I ran fairly recently on the activation placement between a 3-step paywall and a long paywall. And in this case, you can see that the long paywall almost performed twice better than the 3-step paywall. Now, I ran the exact same test on 3 platforms, so different result. I ran the exact same test in 3 different placements and saw different results. And my conclusion was that the long paywall on that specific product worked really great at activation, but that in other placement, the 3-step paywall worked better. I don't know why, but that was the case. And again, it's not a one-fit-all model, and the only way to find out was to test it. We're done. So knowing what you know now, think back about the app you tested about 30 minutes or so ago. Is there anything else that you would choose? Can you look back at the hypothesis that you wrote down and what you wanted actually to change? Does that still make sense to you? Is there something else that you would do differently? I'm going to give you like 1 minute to talk to each other again.
To each other.
Okay, does anybody want to volunteer what you actually tested and found out and your hypothesis or anything like that? Does anybody feels motivated enough to share with us? You guys look like you were very intensively changing everything. No? That's actually this, yeah. No? No one? Okay, cool, no worry. We are short on time, so there's no time for question, but if you do have questions, please feel free to come and reach out to me afterwards. Otherwise, thank you very much. You've been an amazing audience, and have a great day.